If you need proof that snakes are uniquely suited to act as therapy animals for kids with autism, keep watching. Maybe you already knew that interacting with snakes could be extremely therapeutic for both atypical and typical folks, but either way, prepare to be moved by what you see here today. In this episode, I speak with Dave, whose 8-year-old daughter Scarlett has autism and sensory processing disorder. And he shares his journey from just doing some research about snakes to seeing the positive effects they have on Scarlett with his own eyes. And if you stick with us, you'll get to see it too. Because during our conversation, we had a completely impromptu opportunity to illustrate it in real time. And quickly before we dive in, if you want to watch episodes ad-free, head over to Patreon to become a member. I think it costs about $19 a month to remove ads on YouTube, but by supporting the channel on Patreon, you could watch without ads for much less. Get some other nice perks to boot, all while helping me continue to make content focused on animal welfare and mental health and well-being. If you're staying here, that's okay, but don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button before you go, as that's another way to help support the mission here. So without further ado, let's slither on into it. Well, hello. I'm very happy to have you here. Can you introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about what brings you here to talk to me?
Sure. My name's Dave. I came across your channel through doing quite a bit of research. A friend of mine actually keeps a lot of reptiles and so forth. So I just found that to be interesting. So I just got curious, and I was showing my kids. I've 17, 9, and she just turned 8, my littlest one. So I was showing her what my friend said she keeps, and we just started kind of randomly watching videos and just started to find it really interesting. And the more I started to watch, the more interested I started to get. And then sort of like as you do when you're on YouTube or the internet, one thing leads to another, which leads to another. And I wound up down the Google search rabbit hole where I came across articles about the positive impacts of these animals on people with neurodiversity, autism, sensory processing disorder, and so forth. And my littlest one, Scarlett, has it. She struggles a lot. In fact, I'm outside right now only because she's playing with some kids on the playground, and that's always like we're always teetering on the edge of disaster. So I've got to keep my eyes out. And then I started looking at different types of these animals specifically, and I started looking at the ball pythons, bearded dragons, just your like normal stuff. And I started just kind of binge watching green room pythons, and I joined their Discord. And then I started asking around if there were some other good channels, and yours came up. It was like on the list, and I was going through watching just a video or two from each one, and I came across yours and I really liked it. So I just kind of like binge watched all of your videos, and then commented on the one and joined your Discord, and that was how we kind of got here.
Right. And you when you commented, you particularly commented about your daughter and her experience with a snake. And can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, she was very interested, and because she was watching the videos with me, and I just found it, she's very into like the Minecraft stuff, things like that. So when I started watching these videos and she was really interested in it, I was just kind of watching her just to see how she was responding to it. And then that on top of reading all the articles I was reading, there's a lot out there specifically on, well, not a whole lot, but there's quite a bit on the effects of snakes with neurodiverse children and so forth. So I had made her a promise that I said, I looked for, there was a reptile store near me. So I made her a promise. I said, look, if we have a good week, she's very rewards driven. So I said, look, if we have a good week and you don't get suspended, you don't, have an anger outburst at school. I said, I'm going to take you to go look at one, right? So she did. That was her goal, and she had a great week. And the day we were supposed to go look, she got some really bad news at school. Walked in my door, took her backpack off, threw it across the room, and just went into full-blown meltdown mode.
Okay.
So, yeah. And then I tried to calm her down the best I could. I managed to coax her in the car. And I thought, well, I've read a lot about the positive impacts of these things. So either way, we're going to go do this. And let's use this as a test to see if it actually works. And the whole drive, she was with her sister, and she's just beside herself and inconsolable.
Oh, no.
And sometimes it could go on for hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's really rough. And I got her in, and I got her calmed down enough to go in, and then she held it, and within a matter of minutes, she was just perfectly happy.
Really? That's amazing. Yeah. That's amazing.
It is. And my wife was, she was on a trip in New York City, and she's very I sent her the videos, and she's like, look, jokingly, she goes, if I come home and there's a snake in the house, I'm divorcing you. And, but then she got home and she goes, I actually thought I would come home to one. I was like, yeah, I knew you would divorce me. But I was like, I'm not going to do that. So then what was even more interesting was I picked her up from the train station. We went right to the reptile store. I was like, you've got to see this. So she did, and she's watching.
With Scarlett, right?
With Scarlett, yep.
Okay.
And she was right on board. I was not on board, but she's like, that's interesting. The most interesting one was then last week, we went again. And because Scarlett wanted to go. So I said, okay, let's go. My wife, who was at this point like on the fence about it, she couldn't help but notice. Just for about 2 hours, Scarlett sat there very calm, playing happy, was very, very happy. And Scarlett started to get the sense that we weren't going to leave with one today. So she started to anxiety and amp right up, and she's holding the snake, and it balls right up. It was funny because when we went there, it was our third time with the same snake, and the snake went right to Scarlett. We picked it up and it went right to her, which was fun, and was with her fine the whole time. So she amped up, the snake balls up. Scarlett looks down and sees how it's behaving, and brings herself back down, lays down on the couch, and the snake, it unballed and slithered kind of up her and just laid there while she petted. My wife looks right at me and she goes, what's going on with their weird E.T. Elliott relationship? I was like, I don't know. Calmed her right down. So now she's 100% totally on board.
Wow, that is incredible.
Yeah.
Oh
now
my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, both ways. That's what really gets me too, is that it's not just like, oh, we get it. We get this comfort from them, but they are such sensitive creatures, and they can be affected by us too. And it reacted to her, but then she worked with it. That's that's amazing.
It was pretty neat. What was even more interesting were the people who were at the pet store were watching her almost the whole 2 hours, and they said that this particular snake had been handled by other people and had not reacted that way to really anybody. So they were just very interested in how she was with it, and they were very interested as well.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very interesting.
Wow, that's amazing. So, obviously, you guys don't have any snakes. This would be new for you. I'm curious, have you ever experienced, has she ever experienced anything like that with a different type of animal?
No. We have a dog and a cat. The dog, she doesn't have much of a relationship with. I mean, she likes it and everything, but she's not too close with it. The cat's kind of her sleeping buddy to a point, but if she was in one of her moods and I were to hand her the cat, it wouldn't do it really wouldn't help her out or do anything at all. Here she is.
Hi, Scarlett.
Hi, Scarlett.
Wait, what's the matter?
Is everything okay? All right,
Very
can you
nice
give me a few minutes and then I'll come see
you.
We're talking about ball python.
Oh, I want to see. I want to hear. Come on, Justin.
We're talking about your experience with the ball python.
Yeah, remember when you were playing with it? Yeah. Okay, go play at the playground, you guys.
Aww.
I know. Go.
Come on, Dad.
I know. Go. Come on.
Aww.
We talked about this already.
Okay.
Okay.
Come on, Dad.
Okay.
Love it. So you have pets and it's never affected her, like neither one of those has affected her like that. Does she,
No.
I'm curious, is it just like emotional kind of like eruptions, or does she have issues she obviously is hugging you, but does she have issues with personal space, or?
Yeah, it's a lot of things. So first, she really has trouble with negative emotion. She doesn't know how to handle it, and it leads to really violent outbursts, like really violent outbursts, anger. She's very much, everything has to be exactly a specific way, and if it deviates even a little bit, it's done, and the day's ruined. So all expectations always have to be set, and if the slightest thing goes wrong, it could, if she gets into one of her sort of negative states, it could go on for hours.
Oh wow. Okay.
School, she struggles in school. She's now, she kind of has the idea of, well, everybody says I'm the bad kid, so I'm the bad kid at school. And so that's a whole other struggle. As you just saw her, she's a very sweet, empathetic, kind kid, but once she gets in her mode, it gets.
Oh wow. That's so.
Autism spectrum and sensory processing disorder. She seeks out touch, and the way certain things feel, and she just loves. I don't know. She likes feeling up. When she amped herself up, she calmed down, but it was out of empathy for the animal she was holding.
Well, but that's incredible,
right?
though.
So she saw that effect. So, I wasn't, after reading everything I read, that's one thing, but I did what I see and I saw with her.
Right. Wow. That's so fascinating. So another thing is, you guys don't have a snake yet, but you are planning to get one. And what I thought was really awesome is that you have been spending a good amount of time doing your research before getting this animal. I mean, you might think that like someone sees something that amazing that brings their child that much joy, and they might just like get one, but you are actually spending your time doing research. I mean, I think that's incredible, and that's the way it should be. A lot of people don't do that, so I wanted to commend you on that, and I wanted to, maybe you could talk a little bit about how you're doing that research and what your timeline is, you think, now.
Yeah. So, well, it's funny, my iPad, it keeps track of how much time you spend on it. It's gone up 96% since I started up, and we're having a meltdown. What's happening now?
Yeah, they're trying to push this slide and I can't.
Do you need to go?
No. All right,
Okay.
Scarlett, go play on the slide. I'll be there in a little bit, okay?
No.
She's been having this all day.
But they're just gonna keep on
Okay. Okay.
When she started,
So,
okay.
this could go on for hours.
Do you think if I brought a snake out for her to
You want to see
see?
a snake? Would you like to see one? Okay.
Should I show you a snake? Okay, I'll be right back.
Scarlett, you guys. Okay. I'm going to deal with it, I promise. Go. Okay. She said she
Okay,
was sorry.
Scarlett.
Oh, Scarlett, look.
Okay, I'm going to show you a very special snake. Can you see him? Can you see him? Isn't he beautiful? This is Zenith. He's a Western Madagascar tree boa. You see his beautiful yellow colors?
Yeah, but
Yellow and black. Do you like him? Isn't he pretty?
Yeah.
He's a baby right now. He's about, I think he's like 10 months old. So he's going to be a big boy someday. Bigger than a ball python. He'll be bigger. But right now, look how tiny he is. Isn't he so cool? That's pretty awesome, huh? I like your pink hair.
Yeah. Can you go play for a bit, and I'll come with you in a bit? All right.
Then you'll deal with more.
And they apologize, so it'll be okay. All right. Thank you. Bye, kiddo.
Okay, so that was amazing.
Yeah, that worked.
And that just melted my heart.
Yeah.
So it even works through a video screen.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to put him back because he was sleeping and I woke him up, but I'll be right back. Wow.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Anyway, you were saying.
So yeah, my screen time's gone up by like 96%. And so I've looked at, I've binge watched all yours, L's Reptiles, Snake Discovery, Green Room Pythons.
Mm-hmm.
There's a book I ordered. I read that. It was a ball python book. It was old. It's a few years old. Some of the info was outdated, but I still read it. Read everything on Reptiles, all their care guides.
Oh, good.
I pretty much read and then, of course, going to the pet store, talking to as many people as I can. My wife's cousin breeds them, so there's that. It just hours and hours and hours. And everything from care to setup to how to do successfully like a bioactive enclosure.
Oh, wow.
As much as I can. I'm basically looking, hopefully, when we come back from vacation at the end, in July, maybe I'm thinking by the end of July, early August, because I want to get everything set up properly, monitor it, make sure everything's right. Probably send pictures to you guys on Discord, have everybody critique it, let me know what's wrong with it, and go from there. Once I have everything good for about 30 days, and I can keep everything straight, then I will get it.
Well, I commend you. I really respect that because I know I'm a very impulsive person, and I definitely try to test my setups before I get my animals and all that. But it's hard for me to wait that long if I'm like really, really focused on something. That's kind of part of my neurodivergence too.
Yeah, I hear it. I'm not gonna lie, we almost caved that last time we were there, and she was laying down it, and I told her about the snake, and it kind of like slid up, and she like calmed down and type.
Yeah.
This close, we almost caved. But
yeah. I can understand why. I have a couple of these videos that you sent me.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
He's pretty cute, huh? You like him?
I think we're gonna get him.
Oh, do you now?
Yeah, I think we're not gonna remember this one. If we do get rid of this one, mine are exactly the same one.
Yeah. You like how he feels? He makes you feel calm and happy?
It's really beautiful to watch her. Just she's just happy. She's just happy, and the fact that you said right before it, she was having a total meltdown.
Oh yeah.
It's like you would never know that from looking at that video. It's really incredible. Has she always loved animals, or is it like this is a new thing?
So yeah, she has a hard time with almost everything, literally. And so with this one, it's a little different. Like I said, she loves the cat. She likes her dog, okay, but not like I saw. For sure.
Okay. Wow. If you need to take a break, you just let me know.
We're having more. I think she's all right. I can send you the articles that I read.
Yeah.
There's a couple that were. Luckily I'm a doc student, so I have like a free JSTOR, so I can go in there and pull up like these academic articles. And there's a couple of these articles about the positive impacts of snakes on cognitive processing of children, things like that.
Yeah.
And then there are a bunch of side articles. There's a lot of people who are talking about right now.
That's great.
What they're reading. So I can send you all that stuff.
The first time I noticed it was on a little zoo event that we did. We were working with autistic kids, and it was all teens that time, but my snake table was surrounded the entire time, and I was just like blown away at their response, just being completely calm and completely focused on these animals and not wanting anything to do with me. And that's when it really just like, wow, there's something here. I mean, I've always known that snakes have a calming effect on us, but it was when I started kind of noticing the neurodiversity and the connection, and then realizing in myself and my own neurodivergence that I wanted to go down this road. Your story I was like, okay, this is the first interview I'm doing. It has to happen because it is just such a beautiful experience to share. And, I'm hoping that not only do people get inspired by your experience, but also by the way that you are taking your time with making sure that this animal is going to be well cared for, because that's something that I think goes to the wayside sometimes, because we were, it's a selfish thing to keep a pet, no matter what. You can't get around that it's a selfish thing, but it could be very tempting to just be like, well, it helps her, so let's just get it, and not think about that this animal has needs, that need to be taken care of as well. I'm sure it's going to be an interesting process of like her and the animal connecting as well. So I would love to follow up with you down the road, 6 months or something like that, after you guys have settled in with your new animal and had her spend some time, because I'm so curious, like, if doing that every day has kind of an effect overall of like maybe taking the level down a little bit for her over time, so it's not such crazy spikes. I'm just really interested in that, and also because in the end, most likely it's you that is going to be responsible for this animal, right?
Although to be fair to her, she's been watching all the
that's great
videos and things with me, so she'll do, I'm sure, as much as she can.
Of course. And she's really young right now. Maybe by the time, because these animals live for a really long time, so there's that thing about the routine and tasks, right? You were talking about that earlier, of like having things in a line, and that is a huge thing for a lot of us in keeping snakes, is the routine, the tasks. So that part itself might be good, and it might be good for her to feel that sense of responsibility eventually, when she's older. But anyway, I don't want to keep you too much longer. I want you to be able to hang out with your daughters. But thank you so much for sharing this with me, and I really look forward to following up whenever you feel like you're ready to talk about it again, and we'll do another little check-in.
That would be good. Yeah, and I'll keep you up to date too on your Discord channel, all that stuff too. And we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. All right. Cool. Well, thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Dave and Scarlett's story is powerful evidence that pet snakes can act as mental and emotional support animals. Scarlett goes from explosive to happy and calm in moments when she's with the snake, and even when she simply looked at Zenith through the screen. I'm really looking forward to hearing from Dave about how their journey is going and about any cumulative effects on Scarlett's behavior once she's had a snake in her life every day. The connection between neurodiversity and reptiles is obviously valuable to those of us that keep snakes, but also for those who don't, because it can help to shine a more positive light on reptiles in general and on mental health awareness. Not only do these animals have the ability to bring us comfort, but they can also help us to reflect on ourselves and become better humans. Hearing how Scarlett modified her behavior when she realized she was scaring the snake was one of the more inspiring examples of this that I've ever heard. Regardless of neurodivergence, the empathy fostered in the exchange is important to acknowledge. The more we cultivate that with our snakes, the better we can do it for ourselves and for each other. I'm Shira, and this is Zenith, and we'll see you next time for more snake therapy. You're a good boy.